In an attempt to test Apple's new AirTags, earlier this year I shipped several of them to various parts of the world. One of those locations was North Korea, a location DHL claimed they deliver to. Well, neither of my two parcels bound for North Korea ever made it. The first parcel DHL claimed to have lost, which thanks to the AirTag I could see was just sitting in their logistics center. The second AirTag DHL sent to South Korea instead of North Korea. Since then, DHL has continued lying, lost more of my parcels, and now I'm more convinced than ever that DHL deceives their customers for financial gain, which if true, is fraud. And to prove just how incompetent DHL really is, I sent a third AirTag to North Korea. This journey all began in May of this year, where I sent an AirTag to the German embassy in Pyongyang, North Korea. My parcel left from Düsseldorf, made it to Frankfurt Airport, but got stuck there for a month with no updates from DHL. After requesting an investigation on DHL's website, they informed me this would take 4 to 6 weeks to complete, prompting me to send a second AirTag parcel to North Korea, this time addressed to a government-run film commission in Pyongyang. Several weeks later, DHL concluded my first parcel was being lost and offered a refund after claiming their extensive investigation turned up no results. Unfortunately for DHL, I could track my parcel thanks to the AirTag and could see it was sitting in their logistics center, so I wasn't buying it. I refused the refund and asked that DHL elaborate on their investigation. The very next day, DHL magically found the package, updated the shipping status, and the parcel continued its journey, making its way to Beijing in China. Seems suspicious, right? Meanwhile, the second AirTag package had traveled to Leipzig airport. About a week later, the AirTag sent a ping over a wind farm, which we were later able to match against the flight path of a cargo plane heading for South Korea. At that point, we realized DHL sent my AirTag to the wrong Korea. DHL eventually realized their mistake and had the package sent to Beijing in China. Unfortunately, not long after that, the parcel status was updated as undeliverable. Desperate for answers, I decided to contact DHL in North Korea. I asked them a simple question: are you accepting parcels into the country? To my surprise, they were the most helpful department in all of DHL, and they got back to me the very next day, confirming my suspicions that North Korea was not accepting parcels due to COVID-19. At this point, I considered this project as concluded and created what I thought would be the final video of this AirTag series. And the response was absolutely incredible. There was, however, some skepticism regarding my claim that DHL sending my parcel to South Korea was a mistake. Some comments suggested that South Korea was likely a transit stop, while others suggested that the parcel would be driven across the border. You mean this border? I don't think so, although that would be rather comical. Hey DHL, just passing through. Well, now that I have the parcel back in my possession, I can finally confirm what happened. And this sticker says it all. Missent to Korea. I have to admit, there was a part of me that thought that maybe I was wrong and that there was a logical reason for DHL sending my parcel to South Korea. But as you can see, it was just a completely mediocre mistake by DHL. Perhaps I'd be more understanding if the address on my parcel was handwritten, but I ordered the shipping label online, so DHL had the destination country on their system and it was clearly labeled on the parcel, so there really isn't any excuses. Now, you may have also noticed this sticker, which confirms why neither of my parcels made it into North Korea. The mail could not be delivered due to the blocked postal route. So that aligns with what DHL in North Korea told me. But I was still left with a couple of questions. Why was only one of my parcels returned to me and the other one left in Beijing? And why on earth is DHL still claiming they can deliver to North Korea when clearly they cannot? To get some answers, the first thing I did was request an investigation into the parcel still sitting in Beijing. The second thing I did was call DHL directly to question them about my return parcel. I have to admit, I was lucky enough to speak with quite a friendly bloke from DHL. I explained the situation to him, gave him my tracking number, and told him about the stickers I found on the parcel. But as nice as he was absolutely adamant that shipping to North Korea was still possible. He said a system showed that there was no interruption to their service to North Korea whatsoever. I then brought up the fact that his colleagues in North Korea even confirmed themselves that they aren't accepting mail due to COVID-19. Even then, he assured me if I tried sending another parcel to North Korea, it should arrive without any problems. That's when I broke the news to him that I had in fact not only sent one parcel to North Korea, but two. There was a long pause on the phone. He then said in a suspicious tone, "May I have the number of the second parcel?" So I gave him the number and he pulled up the details. He then said, "Ah, yes, I see the parcel is in Beijing." And I was like, "Yeah, but it's been there for quite a long time." He said, yeah, this is true." I was like, "Yeah." At this point, he finally started to believe me and agreed that there was potentially something going wrong. Before we ended the call, he agreed to pass this information on to his colleagues for further investigation. I never heard from him again, and DHL to this day still claimed they deliver to North Korea. Several days after this phone call, however, things got very interesting. I received an email from DHL. It was a reply in regards to the investigation I submitted for the parcel still stuck in Beijing. It read, "Unfortunately, your above mentioned shipment did not arrive at the recipient abroad. Despite intensive research, we could not find your shipment." I couldn't believe it. If you've seen my previous video, you'll know this is the exact same carbon copy email I received last time this happened. But this time I knew for a fact this was an outright lie. If DHL really did an investigation and had no idea where my parcel was, then how come the bloke I spoke to earlier was able to locate my parcel as soon as I gave him my tracking number? Doesn't make sense, does it? This really confirmed my suspicions that these alleged investigations are a complete lie, and that this whole system is clearly automated. DHL have clearly figured out it's cheaper to just pay you out than have an actual human look into your lost package. Now, perhaps the majority of people are okay with this, but imagine your grandma sending a family heirloom to a close relative, and then DHL just loses the parcel. The monetary value of that item is likely worth nothing, but the sentimental value for you is priceless. Now, the first time this happened to me, I rejected the refund and DHL found the parcel the very next day. But this time, I wanted to find out what happens if I play along. So I filled out the details, gave the value of my goods, and submitted the form. Just 2 days later, DHL sent me an email confirming a full refund had been processed into my account. Easy peasy. The big question now was, what was DHL gonna do with my parcel still in Beijing? So I waited. 1 month went by, then another month, and the parcel hadn't moved whatsoever. So it would seem DHL have simply left my package in the hands of their logistics partner. Now, I didn't plan on digging any deeper into this, but I kept asking myself, if a parcel was lost in one of DHL's facilities and the owner of that parcel gets refunded, what happens to that parcel? Do DHL send it back to the customer? Does it go to charity? Or do DHL just dump it? So I thought, perhaps if I send a third AirTag to the exact same address, maybe it would trigger the same chain of events as last time and get lost in DHL's facility. It was a stretch, I know, but I figured, hey, it was worth a shot. So I went onto DHL's website, ordered a shipping label addressed to the German embassy in North Korea. I dusted off one of my spare AirTags, wrapped it up, put it in a packet, and sent it on its way. And would you believe it? My plan worked. Only not quite the way I had hoped. The parcel took its usual journey from Düsseldorf to Langenfeld, spent the night there, then headed to DHL's facility in Frankfurt Airport. After staying there for about 4 days, the parcel left and headed north. It arrived in Leipzig Airport. A few days later, I got a ping from the tarmac, so I knew my parcel was ready to fly. And the only flight that I could find which made sense was this one. Leipzig to Seoul in South Korea. I mean, come on, DHL. Seriously? This is North Korea and this is South Korea. There's a pretty big difference between the two. It's not that hard. Well, unlike the first time this happened, instead of sending the parcel to Beijing, the parcel has gone right back to Germany and to a city named Niederrhein, which is bang smack in the center of Germany. Strange. Now, the parcel is currently sitting in a DHL facility and has been sitting there for a while now. And DHL has not updated the parcel as being undeliverable. So perhaps my plan has worked after all. I submitted an investigation request a few days ago, so it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. I'll be sharing the results of that on my Twitter and Instagram if you're curious to find out. I know that suggesting DHL could be committing fraud is a rather bold claim, but it's the only thing that makes sense to me. And DHL's silence hasn't really helped their case. The only time DHL have reached out to me was in a reply to this tweet. They invited me to email them, so of course I did, and I even sent them a link to my last video. But all I got in response was what felt like automated email replies. But do you know who hasn't remained quiet? DHL's customers. After posting my last video, I have been bombarded with DMs, comments, and even emails from unhappy DHL customers. Most of them thanking me for calling out DHL and sharing their own personal horror stories. What shocked me the most was that some of these were from small business owners. So it certainly feels as though I'm not the only one questioning DHL's practices. Now, DHL, if you're watching, it's never too late to deliver your side of the story. Just, don't deliver it to South Korea. Before I go, I want to thank you all for the amazing response to my park office video. As interesting as the AirTags are, it's great to see you guys enjoy my other content as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.